Black Panther Party.
Welcome to your weekly ticket. First up, Fantastic Beasts 3 will see Mads Mikkelsen replace Johnny Depp as Geralt Grindelwald. Mikkelsen will appear alongside Jude Law as a young Albus Dumbledore, as well as Eddie Redmayne as Magizoologist Newt Scamander, and Alison Sudol and Catherine Waterston as sisters Queenie and Tina Goldstein. The film will be directed by David Yates, who directed the first two movies as well as the latter Harry Potter films. Paramount Pictures just released its first look at its live-action adaptation of Clifford the Big Red Dog. The film, which is based on the beloved children's books, was first announced in 2012 and was at one point scheduled for release on April 8, 2016. The 2021 film stars Darby Camp as Emily Elizabeth, a middle schooler who meets a magical animal rescuer who gifts her a little red puppy. However, she never anticipated to wake up to find a giant 10-foot hound in her small New York City apartment. The film also stars Tony Hale, David Alan Grier, and Russell Wong. It was a couple years ago when Tiffany Haddish was in talks to star in a new 21 Jump Street movie, taking over where Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill left off in 22 Jump Street. However, with the news of Deadpool 3 hiring writers Wendy Molyneux and Lizzie Molyneux-Lojlin, we get a few updates on the Jump Street universe and alumni. The Phil Lord and Chris Miller 21 and 22 Jump Street spin-off with a draft written by the Molyneux sisters will be titled Jump Street, Now for Her Pleasure, and Haddish is still attached. And in separate news, Lord and Miller are set to reunite with their 21 Jump Street star Channing Tatum on an untitled comedy thriller inspired by the Universal monster movies. Whichever film hits production first is anyone's guess, but both a Jump Street spin-off and reunion are in the works. As this year comes to a close and we inch closer and closer to the 2021 award season, we're taking a look at some awards contenders. And with this award season being one of the longest yet, considering the Oscars were pushed back to April 30th, 2021, the movie year doesn't actually end in 2020. Instead, the eligibility cutoff will now be February 28, 2021. And here to help us break it down is Rotten Tomatoes awards specialist Jacqueline Coley. Jacqueline, can you walk us through what films we will be seeing a lot this award season, and what is even the state of the race right now?
It's a very interesting race. I will say for most award strategists, we've all kind of had to write a new playbook in the times of COVID. And so because it's a mostly digital season, meaning the only films that will be eligible are the ones that came out in that very small window in between last year's Oscars and before we shut down, most of the titles are actually smaller independent films that the studios felt comfortable keeping on the schedule due to the fact that theaters will be shut down. So you're seeing things like Nomadland from Chloe Zhao, things like One Night in Miami from Regina King, and the new film Minari that stars Steve Yeun, and that's from A24, the same folks that brought us Moonlight.
A lot of indie stuff. That should make it really interesting. A lot of new faces at the award. Well, at the awards, are there going to be an actual awards building going on?
I do actually think we will have an award ceremony for folks that watch the Emmys and how they did that sort of digital ceremony. I would envision that was like the trial run that the Oscars are then going to sort of implement, their hazmat suit people handing out Oscars with the sitting at home acceptance speech. I think they're going to adopt a lot of that. Also, it's pushed back till April, so there is a chance that they could have some kind of a larger gathering if this new news about the vaccine and such continues to have promising results. It's still very much up in the air, but I think there'll be a ceremony, needless to say.
They could have it at the beach, It's nice and open.
At the beach. Hey, the Independent Spirit Awards are in a hangar in Santa Monica. So
I think that's where I got the idea. Yeah, just put it out there. Put them right next to each other. All right, but what movies have yet to be released do you expect to maybe shift the race?
What's really interesting is there aren't too many films that folks know nothing about yet to be released that we think can be contenders. Now, there's films like Promising Young Woman and stuff like from earlier this year, they had Minari, which now has a date, but not a lot of folks have actually seen it. But for the most part, we kind of know the players. We're going to have Mank from Netflix, Hillbilly Elegy, which just recently premiered to lackluster critical reviews, still has two very exceptional performances at the center of it with Amy Adams and Glenn Close. So we kind of genuinely know who the players are going to be. A few yet to be released are Midnight Sky, which is the George Clooney star, and he also directs, and White Tiger, which stars Priyanka Chopra, which is actually based off of a very best-selling crime thriller that was which was a National Book Award winner from a few years ago. The films that could shape the race that we don't know yet to be released, however, are actually three very interesting titles. The first of which being French Dispatch. This is the new Wes Anderson film that stars Timothée Chalamet and Saoirse Ronan. And then we also have a film that, again, has not had a release date scheduled, that is Judas and the Black Messiah, which a lot of folks are looking for something for Daniel Kaluuya and maybe also Lakeith Stanfield. But other players like West Side Story, Dune, and all of these sort of like big budget Oscar contenders have all decided they are vacating. And honestly, at this point, barring an announcement in the next coming weeks, the films that have been announced are going to be the ones that are contending.
God, that's crazy interesting to see even how things pan out this year and like who shows up and whatnot. But I'm curious, what is your favorite from this year?
I have a few favorites from this year. The film that is really sort of in my heart at this current moment for a host of reasons is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now, this is from August Wilson, the African-American playwright who also wrote Fences, and he's had several hit Broadway adaptations. And this is his musical extravaganza, and it stars Viola Davis and the tragically great late Chadwick Boseman. And it has the best performance I've ever seen from him. And that is saying a lot considering just the incredible things that he was able to do in his short 43 years on this earth. It would be a posthumous awards campaign, which is a delicate thing. If folks remember how they handled the Heath Ledger awards campaign when he ended up winning for The Dark Knight, I would expect similar things, expect to see his wife and his family as part of the awards campaign. And being as this will be likely a love letter to his legacy, a lot of award strategists and pundits, including myself, are pretty much saying it's his to lose. This is not just going to be for what he does in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is incredible, but also just for his legacy as a filmmaker.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Now, we asked our viewers on Twitter who hasn't won an Oscar that absolutely should have. And I'm curious, who do you think should have won an Oscar that hasn't?
This is like such a hard question as someone that has literally gotten upset and like didn't feel like I could go to school the next day after certain things won Oscars that I didn't think should have. For the female side, one that definitely comes to mind is Angela Bassett for What's Love Got to Do with It. No shade to Holly Hunter, but she was a double nominee that year and her better performance was in The Firm. So that one really sticks with me. For classic film fans, I think tons of us are upset that Peter O'Toole, star of Lawrence of Arabia and just like a huge storied career, also never sort of achieved an Oscar. But the one that is in my heart and the one that absolutely should as soon as possible is Ethan Hawke. He is a Texas boy. He has been nominated, I believe now 4 times, and has been even more Oscar nominated films where they just didn't award his performance, including his film from a few years ago, Forced Reform, which it was a travesty that he was not nominated for that. But I really, really, truly want to see Ethan Hawke walk home with the golden statuette. He is my Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was thinking about the question myself, who would be for me, and my brain wouldn't let me get past my beef that Toni Collette did not win for Hereditary. And
yes.
So no matter if she hasn't won one, I'm angry about that. And I still think we could nominate her this year for that crying scene alone. I still think about it and it haunts me. So that's my answer.
She's in the conversation this year with the Charlie Kaufman I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which just picked up a few Gotham Awards. So she's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, also, too, when you just think about it, I mean, this year, if there was going to be a horror performance, like, I don't know, maybe Elizabeth Moss in Invisible Man, or maybe the folks from His House, there's a lot of really exceptional horror performances this year that could break through to maybe get some Oscar love or at least be part of the conversation. So the horror bias that the Academy has, I'm really hoping that both with that, female filmmakers and marginalized filmmakers, this sort of like Netflix or streaming season allows those folks to sort of take center stage.
Yeah, let's get scared, Academy. Let's get scared. Let's get some spooky stuff in there, you know?
I mean, one of the most winning films ever was a horror film, Silence of the Lambs, sweeping all the top awards. Still in the books.
There you go. All right, Jacqueline, thank you so much for joining us. And for you at home, who do you think deserves an Oscar that didn't win one yet? Leave us a comment below and let us know. Jacqueline, where can people find you?
Well, of course, you can always read whatever I'm writing on RottenTomatoes.com. Be sure to check out our awards tour hub, where we have all of the latest news, nominations, winners, and my Trophy Talk column, where I break down all of the insider scoops on who is in contention and who is not. And of course, if folks just want to chat with me or see pictures of my dog, you can find me on any social media platform under that Jacqueline, because I'm that girl that talks movies.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a very cute Maltese poodle who is begging for attention as we speak. So I'm going to give it to him before he starts barking in this video.
Okay, you go. We're going to talk about what movies are coming out. All right? All right,
Thanks,
see you
Khail.
later.
Bye.
Available to watch in theaters, Nomadland.
Hey, Bert!
Hey, Linda.
Come over and join us.
No, I'm just gonna take a little walk.
Okay.
Be back soon.
Following the economic collapse of a company town in rural Nevada, Fern, played by Frances McDormand, packs her van and sets off on a road exploring a life outside of conventional society as a modern-day nomad. The third feature film from director Chloe Zhao, Nomadland features real nomads Linda May, Swanky, and Bob Wells as Fern's mentors and comrades in her exploration through the vast landscape of the American West. And available to watch at home on Thursday, Ammonite.
It pleases me you struck up a friendship together.
What is it? Something? Nothing?
In 1800s England, acclaimed but unrecognized fossil hunter Mary Aining, played by Kate Winslet, works alone on the rugged southern coastline. With the days of her famed discoveries behind her, she now searches for common fossils to sell to tourists to support herself and her ailing mother. When a wealthy visitor entrusts Mary with the care of his wife Charlotte, played by Saoirse Ronan, she cannot afford to turn the offer down. Mary initially clashes with her unwelcome guest, but despite the distance between their social classes and personalities, an intense bond begins to develop between the two women. All right, well that's it for today, but leave us a comment and let us know what your award season's predictions are. I'm Khail, and I'll see you next time.